I'm Myron Tannenbaum, graduation coordinator. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mamaroneck High School graduating class of 2008.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as the national anthem is sung by our own MHS Swing Choir.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big hand to our swing choir led by Dina Madden. They are made up of 9th, 10th, 11th graders and one senior whom I'm proud to acknowledge by name, Christina DeRocha. And now ready to perform Benjamin Britten's frolicsome finale is a string quartet of 4 talented juniors. They are Edward Rosen-Wahlberg, Yuni Samashima, Jonathan Williams, and Will Carlion. Our orchestra teacher is Mr. Alex Romanov. Gentlemen. Thank you very much. That was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Good evening, Dr. Freed, members of the Board of Education, the graduating class of 2008, proud families, friends, honored guests, and the members of the MHS faculty who are here this evening to celebrate a momentous event. Welcome to the 2008 MHS graduation. A few weeks ago, I picked up a book called Stumbling on Happiness by the Harvard psychologist Daniel Gilbert. The book focuses on two things that are especially pertinent at a high school graduation: happiness and one's future. I know it seems obvious, but I never stopped to realize that human beings are the only species who think about the future. Our brains are anticipation machines with an ability to imagine objects and episodes that do not yet exist. Right now, at this very moment, I hope that you're listening to me, but I know that your brain is galloping ahead. In your mind, you're probably thinking, when am I going to get my diploma? How long will Offinger's speech be? How long will tonight's dinner with my parents last before I can be with my friends? Well, Gilbert says that 12% of our daily thoughts are about the future. My guess is that he doesn't know high school seniors. I bet that during most of your senior year, when you were in the building and not in the senior lot having tailgate parties, you were thinking about the future at least 75% of the time. Which colleges should I apply to? When am I going to complete my applications? What will happen when I park illegally in a teacher's spot? All these questions push you into the future. And this is not unusual at certain stages in our lives. And although it's fashionable to say, live in the here and now, it is natural for us to project ourselves forward in time. This evening is a time when you should indulge yourself in future imaginings. Your entire adult life is ahead of you. And here are a few things to think about concerning the future and the happiness I sincerely hope it brings to each and every one of you. The writer Willa Cather once observed that one cannot divine nor forecast the conditions that will make for happiness. One only stumbles upon them by chance. My graduates of 2008, let yourselves stumble a bit into the unexpected of next year, and don't worry about steadying yourself immediately. The stumbling may initially lead you to a different path. After graduating from high school, determined to be a doctor, I stumbled into a course in 19th century English novel. The course I had originally wanted was closed, and the professor in the course in 19th century literature was passionate and brilliant. At the end of the course, I was an English major, and I never looked back. Could I have imagined at my high school graduation that I would love teaching high school English and that I would eventually become principal of a major high school? Never. But it happened, and the stumbling led me to an unpredictable but deeply fulfilling profession. Interestingly, all of us make predictions about the future while we are in the present, and we are strongly influenced by the present. We all tend to imagine the future as the present with a twist. The reality of the moment is so powerful that it holds the imagination in a tight orbit from which it never fully escapes. Most people cannot imagine radically changing from what they are, and as you sit here this evening, you may not be able to imagine it either. I'm sure that Michael Bloomberg, upon graduating from a small suburban high school in Medford, Massachusetts, couldn't imagine that he would one day be mayor of New York City. And I'm pretty sure that when Barack Obama was graduating from his high school in Honolulu, Hawaii, he couldn't imagine himself becoming the first African American candidate for President of the United States. Closer to home, many of you saw Matt Sachs, who graduated from this high school in I guess Matt Sachs brings a lot of, anyway, many of you saw Matt Sachs, who graduated in 2002, come back to our school to perform his one-man show called Clay. 6 years ago, when Matt Sachs sat exactly where you are, could he have imagined this kind of triumph? Could he have imagined that his frustration over not being chosen for various acting roles in college would have led him to write his own play, a play that is going to be staged at Lincoln Center this fall? Probably not. And about a month ago, we had another MHS graduate, his name was Bill Hers, a magician, come to perform for us. Although Bill pulled rabbits out of a hat during his time at MHS, could he have imagined himself going to Amherst College, getting an MBA, and then becoming a first-class magician who would perform for audiences all over the world? Probably not. By chance, 3 weeks ago, my wife and I stumbled a few weeks ago into the parents of Catherine Fichtel, the MHS salutatorian of the class of 2000. Catherine was an incredibly poetic soul who told the graduates that year, "Look at the lines in your hands and follow their course as they define you. The lines are the roads that carry what came before to what will come after." She went on to say that we are always being pushed forward into the future. I had always imagined that Catherine would go on to specialize in the humanities, but her parents told me that this fall she's beginning medical school. Why? Well, as a result of seeing squalid medical conditions in poor countries, Catherine discovered a calling she was passionate about. She let those lines in her beautiful hands take her in a new direction. Years from now, one of you with an inclination to major in science may win the Nobel Prize in Literature, and one of you with a passion for art may end up finding a cure for AIDS. So don't ever think that your future can only be the present with a twist. It's just that you may not be able to imagine how your future will unfold. Of course, you should realize that the twist in your future may bring you some disappointing as well as exhilarating experiences. But the reassuring aspect of Daniel Gilbert's work is that human beings are wildly resilient. What does this really mean? Well, after people suffer losses and heartaches, they return to their emotional baselines more quickly than you might think. Next year, you may indeed have some setbacks. You may not get every course you want. You may not get a roommate that you're thrilled with. And you may not make the cut for a team. And if you're working, you may have a boss who's hard to get along with. But you need to remember that after the letdowns, you're going to recover, and you're going to recover relatively quickly. Gilbert ends his talk on future happiness by saying the best predictors of human happiness are human relationships and the amount of time that you spend with family and friends. And I want you to listen to that again, graduates of 2008. The best predictors of human happiness are human relationships and the amount of time you spend with family and friends. He found that these relationships are more important than money, and believe it or not, even more important than health. People tend to take pleasure in experiences, not in things. Experiences are shared with people, objects aren't. From the middle of May through tonight's graduation, we've had a dizzying series of celebrations that have shown what a remarkable senior class you are, and you are. I've watched you walk hand in hand down the royal red carpet at the senior prom. I've watched you huddle together to sign the senior banner. I've watched you cheer the coaches and the players who went on to win the state championship in baseball, and let's give them a big round of applause. I've watched you pay tribute to your teachers at the spring concert and at the Pace Senior Recital. And yes, I've watched you shed a few tears as you watched the slideshow in the auditorium that captured images of friends who have been together with you since elementary school. But what moved me most at all these events was the realization of how close you are to one another as well as to your teachers. So as you sit here tonight awaiting your diplomas, I'd ask you to think about the relationships you've developed with your family, your friends, and your teachers. How many times have they been there for you as you've agonized about that future? How much love, support, and encouragement have they given to you, both in good times and in bad? So won't you tonight, as we begin this ceremony, join me in acknowledging all the people who are around you at this moment. This evening is an opportunity for me to take a step back, to look down from the podium and realize how fortunate I have been for the past 11 years as principal of Mamaroneck High School. And I am particularly blessed to have been able to enjoy and celebrate your accomplishments, the class of 2008. I can't thank you enough. Please give yourselves a big round of applause. I wish each and every one of you good luck, good fortune, and so much happiness. You have graced Mamaroneck with your presence, and I hope to hear from you in the future. I really love you, and I will miss you sorely. Congratulations, class of 2008. And it gives me great pleasure now to introduce the salutatorian, the young lady with the second highest average in the senior class, Julie Spielvogel. And I couldn't help but mention that in 1978, 30 years ago, the salutatorian of the graduating class was Julie Spielvogel's father. And he's here tonight, and I just wish to send him congratulations. It's an unbelievable occurrence. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce Julie and to congratulate a former and a current salutatorian, Julie Spielvogel.
Good afternoon, Dr. Orfinger, Dr. Freed, members of the Board of Education, faculty, family, friends, and members of the class of 2008. You've all heard the story of the ugly duckling, but today I'm going to share the story of another duckling. This duckling's name is Dizzy Duck, and he lives in a cardboard box at the Rye Nature Center. When I met him 1 month ago, Dizzy was cuddled in a bed of shredded newspapers and straw, preening his downy yellow wings and peering up at me with dark, shiny eyes. I've been training to work at the Nature Center as an ecology camp counselor, and part of my job is to safely remove all the resident animals from their cages and to introduce them to groups of eager 5-year-olds. I had already made the acquaintance of an unfriendly millipede, some death-feigning beetles, and a toad that I have still never seen move, so I knew that Dizzy Duck was a new arrival. I asked my boss about Dizzy's origins. I was hoping that a few casual questions about Dizzy would result in an offer to keep him forever. Unfortunately, I had no such luck. Instead, my boss told me that a kindergarten teacher had brought Dizzy in from the local elementary school. He had been part of a project to incubate ducklings. The teacher was concerned because Dizzy had hatched much later than all his siblings. And, my boss explained, scooping up Dizzy and placing him gently on the carpet, there is something not quite right about this duckling. I opened my mouth to defend him when I too realized that there was something not quite right about Dizzy. As he raised his floppy orange feet and began to waddle around the floor, Dizzy's steps took him only in circles. He would careen around and around for a few seconds, trying desperately to move in a certain direction, and then resign himself to his circular travel pattern. My boss explained that Dizzy was unable to walk or swim in a straight line. The volunteers at the Nature Center had different theories about why. Some suggested an inner ear problem or perhaps a weak leg. When Dizzy tired of running in circles with his head cocked jerkily in the direction of his movement, he would stand still, rocking back and forth. He was dizzy, thus the name, Dizzy Duck. Fortunately, under the protection of the Rye Nature Center personnel, Dizzy was able to survive in spite of his inconvenient condition. Yet, when we began to rehabilitate Dizzy, things did not go so well. In a simple exercise teaching Dizzy to locate food, we would place ground-up seed on a square of newspaper right in front of him. As Dizzy began to walk toward it, he would immediately veer off course and bump into a chair leg or a hiking boot. Watching Dizzy try to steer himself toward his lunch for an entire 30 minutes was a frustrating and discouraging experience. I wanted so badly to just pick him up and plant his little duck bottom in the food, but we're trying to rehabilitate him, so we can't do that. Finally, however, Dizzy figured out how to reach his food. Instead of steering directly toward the seed, Dizzy began to make wider and wider circles, gradually getting closer to the newspaper. Finally, he slid face first into the seed, where he sat triumphantly, gorging himself on his well-deserved lunch. Dizzy Duck is a lesser-known hero than the ugly duckling, but I find him to be just as admirable. One of the most important things I have learned throughout high school is that a certain amount of frustration and failure is healthy. Many of my teachers have encouraged exploration and struggle and emphasized the importance of process as well as product. My art teacher, Miss Shoffett, always says that if we aren't struggling, we probably aren't pushing ourselves hard enough or growing to our full potential. She assures us that it is natural to be satisfied with only a small portion of our work and encourages us to channel frustration into greater intensity. We live in a society that in many ways discourages a circuitous route to success. The danger is that our fear of things unstable and unknown will cause us to prematurely settle for less than we are capable of or less than we desire. I think the biggest risk for me in the approaching years will be to sometimes claim the unconventional path to fulfillment. Some of my classmates are taking years off to work or travel. Others are planning to declare uncommon majors or go to a school in a remote region of the country that no one in our community has ever heard of. These choices take courage and humility. They require a leap of faith and a period of uncertainty. Allowing oneself to dangle in limbo can be terrifying. However, there is so much to be gained by opening our minds to alternative approaches and wider circles. We all hope to get somewhere and do something with our lives, but I think it's important that along the way, we are not afraid to get a little dizzy. Thank you to the school administration, the faculty, the Board of Education, family, and friends for everything you have done to help us reach this occasion. It is now truly my privilege to welcome the graduating class of 2008. Spending the past 4 years with you has been memorable and enriching in every way, and I will genuinely miss you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie. That was lovely. It's now my pleasure to introduce your faculty speaker. Our faculty speaker for the 2008 commencement is on his second tour of duty. He was our faculty speaker in 2006. He's been an English teacher at Mamaroneck since 2003. He lives in our community with his 2 young sons and his wife, and he continues to teach a very popular English course called Senior Composition and Literature. He has a deep commitment to young people, an interesting and a quirky sense of humor, and a storehouse of anecdotes that enliven his teaching. Ladies and gentlemen, your faculty speaker, Mr. Jeff Queen.
Thank you. Thank you for this honor. Every time I sit down to write out a lesson, I ask myself, what's the one thing I want the kids to learn today? And I had to approach this speech today the same way. And I finally decided to write something, call it a speech, call it a story, or call it one last literature lesson about a poem that would remind you of what it is that my colleagues, all of your teachers sitting over there, have tried to teach to you. Which brings me, of course, to the summer I lived in the back of my van. I was in my early 20s. It was August. I was driving west on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and I crossed into Ohio at maybe 1 or 2 in the morning. I sang along to my chewed-up copy of Jackson Browne's Running on Empty that played on my duct-taped Sears cassette boombox. The night was cool, and when I came to the bridge over the Cuyahoga River, I was either overwhelmed by something or over-caffeinated. To this day, I'm not sure which. So I rolled down my window, stuck out my head, and screamed, "Thank you," up at the steel and the lights and the bugs over the Cuyahoga River. Now hold that image in your head for just a minute and jump forward with me a few years. I was in an American poetry class in Milwaukee one summer, and I read a poem by Elizabeth Bishop. The name of it is Poem, P-O-E-M, and you can look it up if you'd like. But in the piece, the speaker is looking at this little painting done by an old, long-dead uncle. And there's nothing special, just some cows and flowers. And then as she looks, it occurs to her that she knows the place, and that this old painting is dead on, that all of the details are just right, and she thinks, so what? Why did he paint such a boring little landscape? Just cows, a few irises, and a little pond. And then we get her answer, and this is the part you need to remember. She writes, "But how live, how touching in detail, that little we get for free." I read those words for the very first time in some musty university basement classroom, and that moment from the Cuyahoga River years earlier made sense. It came back to me. That night, those stars, that feeling of exuberance, optimism, and excitement was, as Elizabeth Bishop wrote, entirely free, and I have never forgotten that knowledge. That knowledge is important to you. It is the reason that Dr. DeGennaro, Mark Drittel, and Miss Etra have given you their entire lives. It is the reason that Mr. Sack always smiles. It is the reason that Miss Donison will probably shed a tear or two at some point in the next hour as you walk across this stage. It is also the reason that Coach Schiaparelli and Mr. Yeiser have been working here since the glaciers last retreated 10,000 years ago. We, and I do think I may be speaking for my colleagues here, have 3 little hopes for you. Combined, these hopes are that little that we get for free. We want you to be excited about, respectful of, and thankful for the life you've been giving. Achieve those 3 little things, and your parents will be very, very proud. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the evening, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Queen. And now, with a dedication to the class of 2008, will be student government representatives Michelle Harris and Eddie Shapiro. And following this, Winnie Smith, the president of the senior class, will present the class gift. And here they come, Eddie and Michelle.
On our graduation, we'd like to share with you a passage from Charles Dickens' Great Expectations.
That was a memorable day to me, for it made great changes in me. But it is the same with any life. Imagine one selected day struck out of it, and think how different its course would have been. Pause, you who read this, and think for a moment of the long chain of iron or gold, or thorns or flowers that would never have bound you, but for the formation of the first link on one memorable day.
In 10 years from now, I hope we may all be able to look back on our commencement ceremony with a better understanding of ourselves and, like Charles Dickens, say, That was a memorable day to me.
Congratulations.
And good luck to all.
Good afternoon. It has been my pleasure to serve on the MHS student government in each of the 4 years here and to have been class president for the past 2. We really are a great class, and I can honestly say I have dreaded this day and these 2 hours for a long time. Some of the things I think we'll all miss about the high school are the open campus, senior lot, and lunchtime. And I tried to think about something profound to say about our gift to the school, and all I found was this anonymous quote. When people you greatly admire appear to be thinking deep thoughts, they are probably thinking about lunch. Most of us graduating today have spent virtually years of our lives thinking about lunch. Garden, Pat's, Chicken Joe's. To enhance future lunches and leisure time of those who come after us, the class of 2008 Student Council has purchased several concrete picnic tables to be placed around the campus. Mamaroneck has a great campus, and we hope that these tables will encourage students to enjoy it for years to come. Thank you.
Winnie, on behalf of the entire school, we thank you for the gift from the class of 2008. And now with a special award, the only award presented to a student at graduation is Ms. Ann Borsellino, President of the Mamaroneck Teachers Association. Ms. Borsellino.
I would like to express my sincere congratulations to the class of 2008, and I wish them the best of luck. Tonight I have the privilege of presenting the Boothby Award. This award commemorates Arthur Boothby, who was the superintendent of Mamaroneck from 1917 to 1941. The Mamaroneck Teachers Association awards it to the graduating senior who best exemplifies the ideals of public education, and to this day it remains the only award presented at the graduation ceremony. Each year, the high school members of the MTA, through secret balloting, select one student from an impressive list of candidates. Because it is a very special award, the recipient must be a very special person. During the discussion prior to the vote, this year's winner was described by her English teacher as the perfect person for this award. Her academic work is outstanding. She is a sponge for new material and new ideas, and she is consistently available to anyone who could benefit from her help. She knows she needs to work hard to achieve her goals and has never wavered in pursuit of these goals. What is most impressive is that she has achieved such success despite the incredible hardship of having escaped from war-torn Croatia with her family when she was only 12 years old. She has endeared herself to the staff, the students, and has a sense of loyalty, happiness, and appreciation for all that America and Mamaroneck High School has to offer. She will graduate with a 90 average while working 25 hours per week. It is my great pleasure to introduce the 2008 Boothby Award winner to Lucy Kruljak.
Congratulations, Lucy. We are now approaching the final part of our program, and it's my privilege and honor to present the students with the highest average in the graduating class of 2008. She is a remarkable young lady, both in terms of academic achievement and what she has contributed to the school community. Please welcome your valedictorian, Eliza Scheffler.
Dr. Freed, Dr. Orfinger, members of the Board of Education, faculty, family, friends, and my fellow members of the class of 2008. Congratulations on reaching this day and on the 18 years worth of achievement that it represents. If you're like me, graduation has caused you to spend some time reminiscing about how far you've come since you were a kid. When I was younger, I hated anything that I was not immediately good at. This is the reason that I gave up tennis, piano, and viola, and why teaching me to bike ride was probably one of the biggest challenges my dad has ever faced. Though I have matured since then, I've retained a bit of that younger self, in that I, like everyone, tend to favor the activities for which I have a natural ability. Considering what a slow runner I am, it doesn't seem very logical then that being on the cross-country team was one of the most meaningful and rewarding experiences I had in high school. After all, my nickname on the team was Shuffling Shuffler. But success and achievement in cross-country were very different for me than how they are traditionally ascribed. When I first joined the team, I was embarrassed to always be the one trailing behind, but I soon grew attached to my place at the back of the pack. There was less pressure there, and my competitors were a lot more like companions. We each had our own personal reasons for being there, but it was important to us all. I knew when I started cross-country that when most people run, they speed up. Reflecting on my experience, I realized that I, on the other hand, run to slow down. I lived my high school life at super speed, with days that often ended at 1 o'clock in the morning. But when I was at cross country, the whirlwind paused and I took a break. I never had to multitask or be 2 places at once when I was out on the road. In addition to the respite from the stress of the day and the cherished friendships I made, I learned many important lessons from my experience on cross country. It taught me the value of hard work and determination. When I arrived the first day, I could hardly run a mile, and by the end of my second season, I could run 10 miles. Cross country also taught me to finish what I started. During one race, I got so lost that I actually foraged through bushes to find my way back and wound up behind the bleachers where my coaches were seated. They pointed me back in the direction of the course, and I ran it to the finish line, albeit 20 minutes after my race had ended. Running has taught me to laugh at myself. Over time, I learned to accept my late finishes. Instead of feeling as if I had lost, I focused on how much I had gained by setting personal goals and achieving them. Whether those goals were to feel good and work hard throughout a race, to appreciate the trees that were changing colors, or to spend time with my friends at a meet, they did not always fit into the narrow definition of success. But in my mind, I came out on top for having accomplished them. We only lose by focusing on the negative and failing to recognize what we've gained. If we broaden our definition of winning, there are so many ways we can succeed. I guess we're all pretty concerned with success right now. We're heading off into the next step of our lives, be it college, the military, a job, or some other adventure. Succeeding up to this point has been pretty clear-cut. We received good grades, we scored points, we raised money for causes, and we were applauded by audiences. In this next chapter, the stakes are higher, and success may not be as clearly defined. Though this might seem scary, it is actually a great opportunity. We can set our own goals and write our own rules for the game, to determine for ourselves what winning really means. We will all succeed in conventional and unconventional ways, and we will all face failure as well. If we treat those failures instead as opportunities, we can never be defeated. Many thanks are owed to the people who have helped us all seize these opportunities for growth. First, to Dr. Freed, Dr. Orfinger, the administration, and the Board of Education, who work tirelessly to make this school the best it can be. I know that I, personally, would never have had the strength to succeed without the support of my teachers and advisors, my family, and my friends, you, the Mamaroneck High School class of 2008. As we depart down our different routes now, I hope that each of us will find joy in whatever challenges lie ahead, and will always remember that there are many paths to victory.
Wait a second. Thank you, Eliza. Dr. Freed spent many years in his early career teaching and supervising on the elementary school level. He's now completing his third year as superintendent with an office in the high school building. And he often talks to me about how much he enjoys the array of high school activities that occur in this district. Whether he is with us at the senior prom, on the sidelines at a varsity baseball game, or speaking at an NHS induction, he continues to look for ways to support our educational program at the high school. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Paul Freed.
People do not decide to become extraordinary. They decide to accomplish extraordinary things. This was said by Sir Edwin Hillary, one of the first climbers to reach the summit of Mount Everest. Dr. Orfinger, members of the Board of Education, esteemed faculty, staff, and administration, friends, proud parents and families, and especially our graduates, I'm very pleased to be standing before the Mamaroneck High School class of 2008. To the graduates of the class of 2008, congratulations. As I pondered what I might say to you today, I thought I would ask my son, his name's Jason, for advice. Although a bit older than you, he's much closer to your age than I am, and might better understand what you would appreciate. Here is what he said: make it short. I asked him if I should pass on any advice to you. He said no. I asked if I should give you a list of do's and don'ts. He said no. He told me the only thing you would remember is if I stood up here and held you hostage. He said you'd remember that for a long time. So short it is, short and light. Graduates, like Sir Hillary, you will all have a chance to accomplish something extraordinary as you begin your journey from Mamaroneck High School. Members of this class have been accepted into top colleges and universities, an extraordinary achievement that many high school graduates across this country do not get to experience. You should be proud of this achievement, and I wish you the very best as you begin your road to higher education. Others may take a year off, begin to work, join the military. No matter your initial path, there's a world out there and extraordinary opportunities await you. You may not realize this now, but once you leave here, you'll appreciate how much this community means to you. You'll have many professors in college and colleagues at work, but none will care about you more and care about your future more and have more invested in you than your teachers at Mamaroneck from pre-K through grade 12. You'll also make many friends in college and beyond, but you'll never have a greater bond than you do with your friends here. It's a unique experience to not only know your friends well, but to know where they've grown up because you've spent hours in their basements playing PlayStation. You know where in the kitchen they keep the cookies. And you'll never forget what their childhood bedroom looks like because it's only recently that they took down their NSYNC poster. And that their odd personality makes perfect sense to you because you know how quirky their parents are. Use what you know from Mamaroneck to make your next experience as great as it can be. Our diversity is a source of pride and learning. Be sure to open your eyes to the people you'll meet from other places and other backgrounds, because those people will help you grow as a person and gain a better understanding of the world. While we look to the future, I want to also point out that many graduates sitting here today have already accomplished some extraordinary things while in Mamaroneck. Many of you have succeeded academically at very high levels. Others have become superb musicians or artists, and others skilled athletes. Many of you have shown your passion and your compassion to help others, raising money for those who live lives of sadness and hunger. Others give of themselves to protect our fragile environment. Recently, the Mamaroneck varsity baseball team did something extraordinary. They won the state championship. They did so with brilliant pitching, skillful fielding, disciplined hitting, excellent coaching, and a high level of commitment. But what I and so many others are most proud of is that this team not only played the best baseball in the state of New York, they played with honor and sportsmanship, and in doing so, they represented MHS and this community with class and dignity. So I congratulate the baseball team and all of our graduates on all of those things not so easily measured. Legendary manager Leo DeRocha once said, "Nice guys finish last." How wrong he was. Because here, we not only have a state championship baseball team, but an entire graduating class that has demonstrated that nice people do win. They win in sports and they win in life. Class of 2008, you are giving, compassionate, thoughtful, and unselfish. You're truly extraordinary. I'm proud of all of you. I know this pride is also shared by your teachers, principal, family, and especially your parents. Your parents have nurtured you, stood by you, and loved you, and they'll always and unconditionally be in your corner. Please give your parents a very loud round of applause. My son said to keep it light, so in closing, I feel compelled to offer just a little advice, and it comes from New York Yankees great Yogi Berra when he spoke to the graduating class at Montclair State University several years ago. Here's part of what he said. Never give up, because it ain't over till it's over. During the years ahead, when you come to the fork in the road, take it. Don't always follow the crowd, because nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. And stay alert. You can learn a lot by watching. You've brought distinction and honor to Mamaroneck High School and the entire community. Congratulations, class of 2008.
Thank you, Dr. Freed. She's here as president of our Board of Education and as the mother of a graduating senior. She is completing her 6th year on the Board of Education. With 3 children in this district, she has always been a supporter of our academic, athletic, and extracurricular programs. I want to take this opportunity to thank her for her leadership, commitment to the educational programs of the district. And having worked closely with her on many projects that have benefited the high school, I want to say that I appreciate her dedication as well as her sense of humor that helps move us forward. Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Levere, the president of our Board of Education.
Dr. Freed, Dr. Orfinger, fellow board members, administration and faculty, proud family and friends, and especially members of the Mamaroneck High School class of 2008. It's my pleasure on behalf of the board to welcome you here this beautiful evening. It's a particular thrill for me to have this honor, as I've known so many of you and watched you grow over the last 13 years. As I'm sure you're tired of hearing people say, "My, how time flies." As I was thinking about this speech over the past several weeks and what I could say to you, I came across some newspaper and magazine clippings from 1990, the year that most of you were born. Scanning through them, I realized how much has changed in those 18 years. Not only were cell phones unusual then, but no one had heard of texting or IMing. Barry Bonds was known more for his prowess at stealing bases than hitting home runs. Ronald Reagan was president. The Knicks were actually a good basketball team. There was not a Starbucks on every corner. Donald Trump was preoccupied with his first divorce. There were no DVDs, and a different Indiana Jones movie was one of the most popular rentals. The Dow Jones Index was somewhere in the 300s, and the crime rate was over 8%. Given all the changes that you've already witnessed, and the many that I am confident are still to come, it seemed a little presumptuous for me to offer you any specific advice based on my life. but I do want to break a bit from the tradition of my predecessors. Rather than speaking to you about all that you have accomplished and how we hope that our schools have prepared you to succeed as you move forward, as I'm sure they have, I want to share with you some wise words on important ways to get the most out of your lives as you travel down your individual paths. They're derived from a message from one of my friends on what would have been her son's 21st birthday had his life not been cut tragically short by a traffic accident. That birthday, like graduation, is a time of transition when adulthood, with its unlimited possibilities and responsibilities, is dawning and childhood is departing. So here they are. First, smile. Smiling makes you and those around you feel good. If you don't feel good, a smile can trick your brain into feeling better. 2, eat ice cream. 3, run on the beach. If you can't do this physically, use your imagination. 4, call someone who is ill or lonely. Take the time to listen to their story and tell them yours if they ask. 5, listen to music that touches your heart and soul, but not too loudly. 6, sing in the shower or out loud if you'd like. 7, play with a dog. 8, apologize to someone you have wronged in any way. 9, laugh. Do something silly or fun that evokes laughter. It has been said that laughter is God's sunshine. 10, follow the path that matters. 11, get involved with your school and your community. 12, vote. 13, in Anna Quinlan's words, speaking at a Mount Holyoke graduation a number of years ago, put down the backpack of being perfect and begin the work of being yourself. And in George Eliot's, it's never too late to be what you might have been, as supplemented by Anna Quinlan, it's never too early either. And so today, as you receive your diplomas and accept the cheers, handshakes, and best wishes of all of us surrounding you, you cross one of the major thresholds of your young and promising lives. Try to remember at least a little of what I've said today and live your life to the fullest. Enjoy, and congratulations to each one of you and your families. Thank you.
Amy, don't leave. Just stand up here. Don't leave. So are you ready? I thought so. Will the class of 2008 please rise? Ms. Levere, I have the honor to certify on behalf of the faculty of Mamaroneck High School that the students in the class of 2008 have completed the prescribed course of study and are entitled to receive the symbol of their graduation, the diploma of Mamaroneck High School. It is therefore my privilege to present to you the class of 2008. Will the first row remain standing? All of the other graduates to be, please be seated.
Jasenia Acosta. Lauren Albert. Nicholas Alfano. Julian Applebaum. Anthony Arache. Sherry Aronowitz. Olivia Arrington. Anna Batterman. Aaron Bagelman. Devora Barrios. Allison Becker. Bridget Bytel. Elizabeth Bell. Rachel Berger. Christian Bermeo. Chelsea Blockland. Jennifer Bloom. Cody Bloom, being presented with his diploma by his mother, Gigi Rothweiler. Max Blumenfrucht. Lee Borstein. Isabel Bourdain. James Brady. Isabel Broad. Harry Brookstein. Nicholas Bruno. Danny Brusich. Jessica Buck. Matthew Burston. Jacqueline Campanelli. Christine Capalbo. Julia Caro. Alana Carpino. Anna Carroll. Raquel Castro, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Rosario Castro. Amanda Celestino. Nicholas Chiricos. Frank Chiaffi. Max Cliggett Perlt. Stephen Coletti. Wyatt Collins. Henry Compey. Alana Congress. Suzanne Congress. Brian Connor. Hector Cornier. Kathleen Corsetti, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Ann Corsetti. James Cowan. Charlotte Cronin. Dennis Crowley, being presented with his diploma by his mother, Gail Crowley. Benjamin Cruikshank. Caroline Cunningham, being presented with her diploma by her father, Jim Cunningham. Carol Curry. Monica Cutello. Robert Dalbon. Philip Darland. Christina DeRocha. Alexandra D'Angelo. Kimberly D'Angelo. Christopher Deerwester, being presented with his diploma by his mother, Lynn Deerwester. Daniel DeBarros. Carly DeFeese. Bernardo de la Cruz. Peter Delomo. Jimena de los Rios. Dana DeSanto. Victor Diaz. Jimmy Diaz. Stephen Diaz. Caitlin DeBacari. Lauren DeBacari. Sean Dillon. Emily Donovan. Ivan Duran. Nobi Abada. Matthew Eckes. Aaron Eisenberg. Elizabeth Eney, Francisco Estrada, Sarah Everhart, Jessica Fajardo, Alana Fay, Shane Ferguson, James Ferrara, Michael Ferrara, Michael Festo, Rachel Fiddleman, Ariel Finard, Olivia Fine, Matthew Fishman, Christopher Fitzgerald, Catherine Flatley, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Suzanne Flatley. Hannah Fleischman, Michelle Fleischer, Nicholas Florence, Maria Flores, Stephanie Foyce, Kirsten Folk, Irene Fox, Melanie Fox, Raisa Franco, Adam Frank, Lorelei French, Joshua Friedman, Alex Fusco, Brian Gable, Melissa Gage, Carlos Garcia, Kelly Garcia, Jonathan Garfinkel, Mikolai Golick, Dana Geldwert, Chelsea Gibbs, Ann Giles, Jonathan Glauber, Nicole Glotzer, Julia Goldsmith, Javier Gomez, Victoria Goodman, Liza Gordon, Rachel Gordon, Nora Graubard, Monique Green, Amanda Greenberg, Isabel Gregerson, Sasha Grossman, Zachary Gumpel, David Haas, Robert Habig, Carly Hashi, Nicholas Hardy, Ethan Harfinist, Michelle Harris, Catherine Harwood, Emma Hecht, William Herman, Joop Heemstra, Jonathan Hilberg, Evan Hollander, Catherine Howard, Caroline Irving, David Jackson, Benjamin J., Victor Jolie, forgot that David Jackson didn't come. David Jackson's not there. Okay. T-Ball Jordan. Max Jurish. Julia Kaplan. Omema Sarah Carmoon. Rory King. Sean Kingston. Amy Kirkham. Granel Knox. Lucia Kruljak. Kazuya Kurahara. Helena Landegger. Melina LaRusi. Bianca Larea. Stephanie Lazarus. Alexander Leaf. Christopher Letty. Mason Lee. Irvin Leon. Jeffrey Levere, being presented with his diploma by his mother, Amy Levere. Alexander Levy. Michael Levy. Michael Lewin. Gabriel Lieg. Casey Lynchner. Raquel Lividini. Erica Lopez. Samuel Laurie. Nathaniel Lowenthal. Sarah Lyon. John Madrid. Stephanie Morena. Sarabeth Mars. Elvin Maldonado. Robert Mancino. Irving Manriquez. Emma Marcus. Hadass Margulies. Simone Margulies. Albert Marmol. Kimberly Martinez. Paul Massey. Isabel McDaniel. Jamie McGill. Elise McNally. Christina Mello. James Myers. Alexandra Michaels. Gianna Migliaccio, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Marie Migliaccio. Michael Miller. Scott Miller. Emma Mincer. Lauren Mirabella. Daniel Mizrahi. Ashley Monter. Nicolette Manzadelis. Kyle Moore. William Moore. Daniel Morrissey, being presented with his diploma by his father, Bob Morrissey. Christopher Moyer. John Muller. Salvatore Naclario. Cynthia Nagel. Catherine Grace Novikov. Sydney Ortiz. Hallie Pace. Andrew Paul, being presented with his diploma by his mother, Dina Colon. Giovanni Pena. Hart Pepe. Elizabeth Persiasepi. Lori Pereira. Francesca Petrillo, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Virginia Petrillo. Vela Petrov. Marissa Phillips, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Maria Phillips. Louis Pico. Liza Pincus. Vincent Pizzamenti. Roman Ponsonet. Robin Peruznik. Brian Quinn. Betty Rathbone, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Bess Rathbone. Louis Rathbone, being presented with his diploma by his mother, Bess Rathbone. Michael Regan. Sarah Reibstein. Graham Renz. Anaceli Reyes. Janelli Reyes. Catherine Rice. Matthew Reamer. Max Rios. Joseph Rivers. Benjamin Roberts. Elisa Rodriguez. Gabrielle Rodriguez. Nicholas Rodriguez. Ralph Rodriguez. Wilver Rodriguez. Lee Rome. Reynaldo Rosa. Mark Rubenstein. Nicholas Santoro. Thomas Saporito. Maxwell Sauer. Eliza Scheffler, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Carol Scheffler. Astrid Shantz Garbasi. Zachary Schlein. Derek Schnebley. Anna Schonauer. Nicole Schreiber. Matthew Side. Emily Sellinger. Michael Sepkowski. Charles Serra. Devin Serrano. Edward Shapiro. Elizabeth Scher. Stephen Sherwood, being presented with his diploma by his mother, Linda Sherwood. Daniel Schlechten. Harrison Shantz. Rochelle Sideropoulos. Elise Shosted. Charles Smith. Cameron Smith. Winnie Smith. Matthew Sonneman. Edan Soroker. Peter Sorrell. Caroline Spader. Sarah Spangenberg. Julie Spielvogel. Allison Stavis. Nicholas Stefan. Brian Stein. Sarah Stein. Maria Stepanchak. Catherine Still. Patrick Stolman. Lauren Strausser. Nina Sussman. Hannah Spernlin. Sarah Swain. Alex Takata. Alexander Talib. Philip Tancora. Ruth Tain. Carrie Taub. Rebecca Tenenbaum. Kristen Thal, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Robin Thal. Shireen Torres. Alexander Truman. Emily Upton Davis. Julius Vinauskas. Erica Valdez, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Therese Valdez. Christopher Valentin. Brian Vargas. Christopher Vernier. Anna Maria Viazzo. Laura Vidler, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Maris Vidler. Audrey Wax. Samantha Walters. Jack Warner. Jordan Weinberg. Emily Weissner. Vivian Wensler. Gabrielle Westerman, being presented with her diploma by her mother, Rosemary Westerman. Stephen White. Michael Wickham. Emily Wilson. Michael Yalson. Alicia Yoon. Brenda Zagal. Allison Zambordino. Joshua Zambordino. Nicholas Zangiacomi. Daniela Zuniga. Matthew Zupan.
I'd like to call up Lori Perea. Lori, come up, please. And when you hear Lori's voice, you'll know why we're calling her up. Lori is going to lead us in the alma mater with the class of 2008. Please rise.
From here. Anytime?
Go.
High upon a hill commanding valley, sea, and sky, proudly stands our alma mater, stands Mamaroneck high. Mamaroneck, to thee forever we will loyal be, faithful to our alma mater. Hail, oh, hail to thee.
Congratulations to the class of 2008. Yes, she is.
He took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share